How's it going, fragrance people? Sorry if I look crazy because I do look crazy. My hands, my working hands, busy life, crazy world. I'll see if anybody wants to pop in this evening. I did a really bad job not scheduling it today, as well. But I hope that y'all are doing really well. I hope that you're doing really, really well, being safe, doing well, being awesome. How's the fragrance world? I wanted to see how y'all are doing this evening. Chat it up, see what's on your mind. This is, anyways, fragrance wise, it's been absolutely awesome. There's so many fragrances to try. I'm hoping that Hey there, happy 4th of July, everybody. Casey got that spirit going on. Honestly, I didn't grill myself a steak or hot dogs or anything. The rest of the family's been out of town, so I haven't done too much to celebrate, but definitely got that 4th of July spirit. Most sometimes I should have done it, but I like to barbecue ribs. Really crazy about ribs. So, Rich Mitch says hello. Hey, how you doing, my friend? How's it going? How's the fragrance life going for you? So, with my fragrance journey, I feel really, really complete with my collection. I don't know if y'all ever feel complete. It's still fun to explore new fragrances, but that's something that I've kind of wanted to talk about. I don't know if other fragrance reviewers feel the same. Like, I mean, I have enough fragrances. I'm happy with what I have, and if I didn't get any more fragrances, I mean, I'd be satisfied with all the fragrances I have for different situations and different occasions, and different emotions and different things. But it's still fun to explore. I'm curious. I'm really curious to see if other fragrance reviewers feel satisfied with their collection. Like, do you feel like your collection is complete? Do you feel like you have enough fragrances? I wonder if other people out there feel like they always have to have a new fragrance. I'm curious to see if they do. Have you smelled or have you smelled Bois de Jour? No, I haven't smelled it yet. I've been tempted to blind buy a sample, but we don't have those fragrances at our local mall. There's no boutiques here. I've been tempted to almost open a boutique around here. We don't have much of a fragrance culture, but I don't know. Maybe it would work. Maybe it wouldn't work. It'd be a lot of investment to actually open up a physical store. I don't know if that would work down here. People still are not really into fragrances, anything luxury. It's I live in one of those more rural places. It's actually kind of funny. Going back to cars or anything, because it's more attainable. More people act. There's more demand for like cheaper cars and cheaper things, and the prices actually here are higher on those things. And if anybody around here ever decides to sell a nicer car like a BMW or something, they can't get their money back or they can't get a decent price because the demand here is so low for it. Because people around, I mean, there are wealthy people from here, here and there, but just on average, the average person isn't concerned about fragrance. That's for sure. I'm getting the 500 ml private collection bottle. Whoa! So you must really love that fragrance. Does it have a big sprayer as well? Does it spray out like an entire mill every time you spray it? That's awesome. How much did that baby cost you? It's it's got to be expensive. How much was that? Like $700 or something? That's crazy. I've been settling in with two primary fragrances lately, Terre d'Hermes and Bond Number 9 Eau de New York. I've been hearing lots of good things about that new Eau de New York. It must be really good. Lots of people are talking about it. Is it a new release? I'm not sure if it is a new release or not. But the Terre d'Hermes, classic, classic fragrance. Always good, easy to wear, easy to enjoy. Maybe a little bit more for the I don't know, reputable gent. A little bit more for maybe a mature nose, but it's still great. Some younger guys, it's not their vibe. It turns a little bit earthy. It's not particularly sweet and the vetiver woodiness and all that stuff, but it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Haha, it's 280 quid, about 325 US dollars. You got that for a steal. I bet you could. I don't know if you want to, but I bet you could decant that out and all that stuff people do, and make Make some money. That's a really good price. 500 mils for 280 bucks. So you almost got that for 50 cents a mil, almost. That's really nice. It's really nice. Anyways, do you like, what's that fragrance about? You convert me to a Beau de Jour, if that's how you say it. I'm terrible. I don't even know how to say it. Sorry, I got a cord wrapped around the tripod here. There we go. For me personally, I have Givenchy Pie. I think it's called Extreme. And it's a leather version essentially. It's getting harder to get. It's getting rare. I don't know if y'all saw my video I put out today, Fragrance by CA, but they have a lot of stuff that I was looking forward to. Um, I mean, I wish I could buy more of those things, honestly, but I am happy with my collection. It's always funny as a fragrance lover. You always want something new, but I mean, you might not need it. um, but I've been wanting that Givenchy Pie Extreme. I like leather fragrances. I kind of like Givenchy Pie, but I'm really excited to get that fragrance. It's getting harder to get, and I hope that I get it. I mean, I'm gonna get it before it gets expensive or too hard to get. So, are there any fragrances that y'all have had your eye on that are getting rare or discontinued? It's really crazy, you know. What times change. The John Varvatos are getting hard to get. A little bit, not terribly so, but they sell out a lot at a lot of places, and Mugler too. Mugler's been a lot of them are sold out everywhere. What do you think of Bogart? Arabian Nights Bogart is it is a good price? Do you think, or a good value? I don't know if I've tried that before. I'll have to look into it. Uh, I'll have to Google and see. I don't remember ever trying those. Whenever I see Bogart, for some reason, I think Chopard, but it's a completely different brand. So I'll have to. That's not the same brand that made Silver City, is it? Or Silver Scent. I might be. I don't want to judge the whole brand off a few fragrances I've smelled. If that's the same brand, but if it is the same brand as if they did make Silver Scent, I think it's called. I tried Silver Scent Intense, which supposedly some people like, but to me, it's like it smells like grape Kool-Aid. Uh, yeah, I don't know much about Bogart as a house. Not a lot of people seem to talk about them. I don't know if they're still making fragrances. I know that they were fairly popular in the past, and some people seem to really like them. But hey, uh, I don't know. Chopard makes great watches, but just like Atelier, making great jewelry. Hey, Carly Warley's in the house. Hey, Carly. Happy to see you. Happy that you could pop by. Just stopping in. You showed up pretty early this time. You didn't show up late, so that's a fantastic thing. We're only about 8 minutes into the video, so... Or the live here. Not... I guess it is a video. But anyways, fragrance jerks into house. I don't know... I don't know much about that. I heard rumors that there was people who, like... I don't know, talked with each other. I don't know if they're a group or if they're friends with each other. I heard rumors that some of them were talking about me. I don't know. I don't know. Is there a group of people who have called or started calling themselves that? I don't know. A lot of the people to me who are like trolls, and sometimes I feel they're fellow fragrance reviewers or some other people in the fragrance community. A lot of the times they have like fake profiles, and they like hide in the shadows and they kind of give their opinions. I've had people like judge me or like make really outlandish assumptions or claims, and I've had discussions with a couple of them, and then they're like fake profiles and fake aliases, so I don't really know who's behind the other screen, the cell phone, the computer. So it's kind of crazy. It's the fragrance world has its own crazy drama. Y'all know all about that. Bogart do some amazing scents. Cheap as chips at discounters. I'll have to try more of those Bogarts. Did they make Silver Scent though? I tried Silver Scent and it did not work for me whatsoever. But I might have to try some more of them. If that is the same house. Stefan Fragrance, yo, what's up? Hey, my friend Stefan, how's it going? Thank you for popping in. We're just chilling, taking it easy. I don't know how long we'll be here, but we're just gonna shoot the breeze and see what kind of conversation we can have. I hope that y'all saw my Fragrance by CA video. I was very proud to do that video. My channel's not the biggest, but I'm very passionate about fragrances, and I'm happy to see that that when I do, work with brands, that they're willing to work with me like that. So I'm really proud of that. That I've been able to, keep my own personal integrity because I don't have anything against top tens, and I'll do them from time to time if I think they're helpful. But I never wanted to make my channel just about top tens just because it gets the views. And again, I don't want to judge other fragrance reviewers. Maybe that's what they truly like to do, and maybe that's what they enjoy. Some people out there, hey, they don't care about what kind of content they make. They just make the content that works, and they don't have. There's no question about it. So more power to them. But Rufino says, if you were given the choice, would you pick Cedroc Boise by Mansara or Percival by Parfums de Marly? Percival, personally for me, I don't know why, but it's just not a fragrance I'm crazy about. It smells decent. It's very mass appealing. But even though Cedroc Boise isn't the most creative fragrance, perhaps isn't the most complex fragrance. Cedroc Boise, Percival is not a terrible performer, but Cedroc Boise lasts longer. It's a bigger compliment getter. It projects better on me, and Cedroc Boise, I like it a good bit more. But y'all know that for that kind of feel, especially with the blackcurrant, blackberry vibe, I do like that Jubilation 25 so much better. But it's a completely different fragrance though. But yeah, I'd pick the Cedroc Boise. Especially for the price. You can get Cedroc Boise for like $80 or sometimes even less if you look at the right places. You can find it for a great price. So, Carly Warley says, haha, yeah, I'm early for once. Made an extra effort for you. Hope that you're doing well. Is that some beer glasses or what are you having a good time over there, Carly? What's your drink of choice? Cedroc Boise is not a good scent, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not crazy about it, and I'm not in love with Cedroc Boise, but I don't think it's a bad scent. Do you think it's a bad scent, Rich? Why do you think it's a bad scent if you do? I do wish that it was a little bit more complex, but it works as far as like a compliment getter goes, and something easy to wear. It's quite nice. Rich Mitch, do you know Arabian Nights? Oh yeah, you're still asking about that. Was it that Bogart? I think it was. Yes, Casey. Also Riviera Nights. Riviera Nights. I would like to see some top tens from you. I'll make you top tens, but I gotta think they're like helpful and useful, and also y'all know that I'm doing my fragrance journey authentically, at least in my opinion of what's authentic. I buy fragrances that I'm passionate about. There was a time where I bought a few fragrances just for review, and I felt like that's kind of betraying myself. I really don't want to do that. If I buy a fragrance, it has to be because I'm truly interested in it. Maybe if I had a huge amount of disposable income where I could just do this stuff for fun and it didn't really matter, and maybe if I was really trying to make a career out of this with a lot of intention behind it in that way, maybe I would buy tons of really popular, affordable, and cheapy fragrances and make tons of top 10 lists, and I'd buy, do tons of Ross and TJ Maxx hauls like some of these guys, but if I do a top 10 list, I have to think it's truly good. So I do like every year, I've kind of decided that I'll do a seasonal list, spring, summer, fall, winter. Also, I do like to do a date night list, which of course guys are always interested in knowing fragrances that ladies like. And Carly, you're here, so definitely feel free to put in your 2 cents and your opinion on what men should smell like. But besides those types of 10 list, I'll do a tag video if it's really an interesting idea. but a lot of the tag videos are like top 10 fragrances for life. I've done some of those kinds of things in the past, but I think they're a little bit corny. they're the house isn't going to catch on fire, and we're not going to be limited to 10 fragrances, and I'm not going to wear just 10 fragrances for the rest of my life, and so on and so forth. But I mean, the fragrances, those fragrance lists are still kind of fun to see what you really do love out of your collection. So, and why. Anyways, Rich Mitch says, "Do you think of Arabian Nights worth $15?" I haven't tried it, but $15 isn't bad. If you're on your fragrance journey, if it looks really good to you, and $15 usually isn't too much, of a risk. You might not love it, but when you're first getting started, you do have to take some risk. When I first got started, I bought plenty of fragrances that I didn't like, but and I didn't always just blind buy the hyped fragrances. Sometimes I did explore fragrances, and I found some amazing cheapies and some fragrances that were fairly affordable. And I also found fragrances that I didn't really care for. But that, to me, that's a beautiful part of the fragrance game. You got to get interested in fragrances and then learn about like value and the perfumers and the quality. Like you kind of figure out what's good for you. You might really like Bogart fragrances. You might really, really like those Bogart fragrances, and they might work really well for you. But you might be really picky. You might find that the quality's not good for you. So you got to kind of figure out what works for you. And some people, they stick to more affordable designer fragrances. And some people, they definitely go into the world of niche or indie and start exploring that way. So definitely have a good fragrance journey. Definitely feel. I want you to feel confident. Again, feel confident in your path, my friend. It's not a crowd pleaser. Yeah, that Arabian Nights usually it's just usually something spicy, heavy on oud, maybe heavy on the rose, maybe leathery. Yeah, it's probably not a compliment getter if you're looking for something easy to wear. I come alive on me plum liqueur, Benjamin. Oh, plum. I didn't know you liked plum so much. I don't know if I've ever tried that. I'm more of a sometimes a mixed drink, but I gravitate towards rum. But plum, that sounds really nice too. Kind of mellow, soft, smooth, kind of calm. That's nice. So you come alive, huh? So people are different. Some people they get really they love everybody. Some people get tired, angry, sleepy. So you get lively, huh? You get kind of playful. Rich says, okay, and I want Ben and Carly a collaboration. Well, I've asked Carly if she wants to become a fragrance reviewer. There's so many people here. Like Rich, some of these guys out here have an amazing collection. And you don't even have to have an amazing collection, but if you already do, you're already in a really great place to showcase fragrances that people haven't heard about. People haven't reviewed those fragrances. People probably need your input on fragrances. I know it's a lot of time to do YouTube. It's a big commitment. But you don't have to do a lot of editing like I do. I don't do a lot of fancy editing. I've been tempted. I've been back and forth to get back into the editing again. I know that YouTube pushes content that has editing because a lot of people seem to like editing in the videos. But to me, it didn't really, in my opinion, editing doesn't really improve much. It's nice to see a fragrance if I talk about it, have it pop up on screen. Those kinds of things are useful, but people put in things for laughs and little distractions and they'll zoom in on the face and all this stuff. And maybe that makes it more interesting for some people, but it doesn't for me. What's up, Ben? Hey, Anthony Rodriguez, how you doing, my friend? Happy to see you pop in. Sandy Winfield. I got alcohol in the mind. I almost said Winefield. Carly, you got my mind on that plum liqueur. Says, hi, Stefan, and breaking news. Zaharoff Pour Homme Royale and Noir are out for pre-order. I had heard I had heard through the grapevine of the news that those, Zaharoff was putting out fragrances, and then I heard that he was putting out two flankers. But thanks for sharing. I didn't even know what they were named or what they were. So there's a Royale version, and there's a Noir version. I'm assuming the Royale might be a little bit fresher. It might have more patchouli or something like that. I'd be interested to see what that's all about. And the noir, is it heavier on the oud, or is it leathery, or is it more of a gourmand take on it? I'd be interested to see what the both of those are about. I'll have to Google that tonight. I'll have to do a little bit of research. Thanks for sharing, Anthony. Looking to take some risk with Middle Eastern fragrances, not expensive but interesting. Yeah, when you're diving into fragrances with your fragrance journey, it's always good to take some risk. Now, it's a whole different story in my opinion if you're blind buying niche. That's definitely a no-go. You're probably going to dislike more niche than you like, at least I do. I'm really picky with fragrances in general, and niche are very for a very selective amount of people. So, or just, not everybody's going to connect with every niche fragrance. So when you first start out, I think exploring cheapies and figuring out what you like is a great way to go. That's what I did. I bought all kinds of different cheapies and fragrances here and there to figure out. It's like, do I like this note? Is orchid a note that I like, or is leather something that I'm interested in? I mean, there's all kinds of different notes out there, or different styles of fragrances. It's good to figure out like where you are, like what's your personality, and what do you like. So I think that's a great way to go about it. You do lose some money in the end. I mean, everything's a risk and everything costs money, but it's good to figure out your personal taste. And y'all know my motto. That's why I say wear what you love, because again, I feel like so many people buy things based just off compliments, or just because ladies like it, or it's, maybe just because it's a projection beast and it sounds fun. But it's good to know that you truly love that fragrance and it works for your personality and your style, and I guess who you are. To me, that's what it's all about. But yeah, have some fun out there, Casey. Indecent says hello, Ben. Hey, how you doing, my friend? Happy to see you pop in. How's the fragrance game going for you, my friend? Do you think Mr. Smelly should be renamed Mr. Chili? I don't want to talk bad about some fragrance reviewers, and in the past y'all kind of pushed me in that direction with like Demi and all that, and I don't want to go in that direction. I have mentioned that some things don't, with some fragrance reviewers, don't look great, like with Dua. Some people do showcase Dua fragrances and don't mention that they get them for free, and I don't know if their people are being paid or not. I don't want to accuse Mr. Smelly or anybody. I've never, and like with Demi, I wasn't accusing her of taking money or anything like that. I was just saying when they push certain brands and they sometimes don't even tell you that they get them for free. And again, I don't even know if they might be paying out of their pocket, but I personally have my suspicions. But I don't want to make a claim about any of that. So, but yeah. So I do wish that there was more transparency in the fragrance game. And I hope these fragrance reviewers do know, and I think they do know, if they have accepted money, which some people freak out about that. Uh, with anybody, if you become very big in social media, if you become very big in anything, popularity wise, you can endorse products, and that's completely normal in the world. I think it's normal. People in the fragrance community freak out. They think it's a terrible thing. Some people, they think it's highly unethical. But if you're transparent about it, and I mean, hey, you can do your thing. But if any of these people are accepting money and they're not, when you upload your video to YouTube, you have to put that's a paid endorsement. You have to click a checkbox, and it's supposed to pop up at the beginning of the screen and tell people that's a paid endorsement. And Jeremy Fragrance, even though some people really dislike him, and he has got paid endorsements a couple times, but he was smart enough to actually put it in his videos. He admitted in one video, I can't remember which one it is, and I don't remember if he deleted that video or not, but he admitted to taking paid endorsements like 9 different times. And that's not a terrible thing to me if you're open and honest about it. And sometimes you might even believe in those products. You might be endorsing a product that you truly believe in. So I guess that's up to you how y'all feel about that. For example, to me with Fragrance by CA recently, I believe in Fragrance by CA. I buy from them. I think they're a great company, and I was very happy to be able to work with them. And I just got a free fragrance. I didn't get any money. to just be 100% transparent with y'all. But anyways, Carly Warley says Sauvage tends to make me rather weak at the knees. Oh, you like Sauvage? Well, maybe I need to check out Sauvage EDP and see and revisit that fragrance. I know that I don't like the EDT version, but maybe I can retry the EDP and the Parfum version if you like it. Shame no one around here wears it. In fact, no one around here really wears fragrance anything. Strange. Yeah, around here, people don't really wear fragrance either. I know that there's some people who must, because we do have a mall and there are fragrances, and some people do buy fragrances. And we have, a couple places where you can buy fragrances. Ross is usually absolutely terrible around here. They don't even stock fragrances. I don't know, pretty much they don't even have any stock. Last time I went, they had like 5 fragrances on the shelf, and they were terrible. I don't know if people are stealing them, or I don't know why they don't keep them in stock. But TJ Maxx has a few, but usually not anything special. Anyways, yeah, Carly, I'll have to revisit that Sauvage. Casey says, I have found that many designer fragrances smell good on the top notes, but lose luster quickly. That's a great point. Designer fragrances often do that because people, when they walk into their local mall, and just the average person who doesn't know about fragrance or might not be thinking about it, they spray the fragrance on a card, they spray the fragrance on their hand from a tester, they smell it, and they say, hey, that fragrance smells good, I want to buy it, and they walk out the store, and they're sold on the top notes. But mostly what you enjoy and what you experience with a fragrance is mostly the heart notes or the dry down of the fragrance, as we say. So, it's a shame. Polo Red is one of the most infamous ones. Polo Red has a gorgeous opening. I absolutely love it, but it doesn't last for very long. And then the dry down is kind of boring. But that's how it is. That's how it goes, my friend. That's one reason with a lot of people tend to try to find the flankers of certain designer fragrances, or sometimes they, start going towards more of the high-end fragrances, because a lot of designer fragrances, nothing's wrong with getting compliments and smelling good, but you won't smell terribly unique unless you go for some of the more rare, unusual flankers, or you start diving into the indie or the niche and all those good things. So. But some people are more interested in editing than fragrances. It seems it might be that way. And I don't want to criticize some people. One guy out there, he's absolutely fantastic. I won't say his name because drama and people take things out of context and everything. Y'all probably know who it is. If you're into fragrances, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But he has his own little film company, I think. At least that's from what I understand from what he said. And he does a wonderful job. And there's another guy who's terribly popular as well. He's copied Jeremy Fragrance's spins. He used to joke. I don't know if it was a joke or serious. I couldn't tell. It was kind of corny, but still, he's a pretty cool guy, and he's doing very well in the fragrance world on YouTube. And his editing is spot on as well. Some of these guys have serious talent. I don't know if y'all have seen Fragrance Shark as well. He's a very small fragrance reviewer. I don't think he's past. I haven't looked at his subscriber numbers in a while, but I don't think he's even above 500 subs. But the guy's fantastic. He's very friendly. He has his own little style. But the thing is, he puts editing into his videos that are like cinema quality. I don't know how he does some of the stuff he does. And his editing and his... I've talked to the guy. I admit I've talked to the guy a little bit before. I said, you got some talent. If you're just doing this for kicks and giggles and you have this kind of skill to edit videos like this, and I'm not even talking about just the cuts, jump cuts and all that stuff. He has some footage. He knows how to improve the quality and the staging. It's unbelievable. That Fragrance Shark, I mean, that guy needs to definitely get a film career and work in the film industry, because that guy deserves it. He seriously does. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're joking about. Carly Warley says, haha, Ben and Carly collaboration. Maybe one day. I don't know if there's any room for Carly Warley channel. I'm still sitting here on the sidelines, learning, taking stuff in, all in good time. Yeah, Carly, and you can, if you want to start a channel, hey, we all learn and we all grow. When I started my channel, I didn't know everything, but I had been on Fragrantica and watching fragrance reviews. I don't know, for at least a year, probably 2 years or more, and I didn't know everything, and I'm still learning. But it's still really fun to do this kind of thing if you're interested. And again, maybe one of these days, if I ever get to travel, maybe I'll get to meet you. So we'll have to see if that ever happens. Anyways, what other fragrance things are going on in your world, everybody? What's some fragrances? Have y'all bought anything? I don't want to encourage y'all to buy everything, but has there been anything that you've been enjoying recently? What are some fragrances that have been really stuck out to you recently? I feel like we're kind of at a crossroads in the fragrance world. I feel like it's about time that we have another trend. You know that Mugler's been bought out, and after this quarantine stuff really comes down, I don't know when it's going to happen, but there's going to be a whole bunch of new fragrance releases. Tinzion Terenzi's already released a bunch of fragrances, but when everybody was cooped out because of the quarantine, and because all these companies have, they're going to put out new fragrances or reformulations, it's going to be crazy, guys. I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe it'll happen in December for all the Christmas shopping, or maybe it'll happen like early next year. But there's going to be so many new releases from all the niche houses and the designer houses. There's going to be so many new fragrances. Like Creed is, when they come back and probably have a bunch of new fragrances, or really interesting to see what they do. It's going to be a crazy time. There's going to be so many changes. I'm excited for it, guys. Even though I might not buy a lot of it, I want to see what happens. Are y'all excited? And again, I know I talk about that a lot. I know I talk a lot about that, but it's something that I try to get the word out. I try to talk about some of those things because so many fragrance reviewers, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just not something that gets the views, but they don't seem to talk about the fragrance news and the things that are really happening in the fragrance world. And I think it's terribly important, and I like to get the word out. So, Le Male Parfum is now top on my list. Yeah, I haven't tried that. Is that a really, really new release? I honestly don't know much about it at all. I know that Aviator came out fairly recently, and it's starting to hit discounters. But did they really announce that that's going to be a new release coming out in the future? In the future? I don't know. I'm just joking around. Anyways, Le Male Parfum. Hopefully they add some, like, I don't know, maybe some boozy notes, or maybe some interesting notes in the dry down. I would like to see that. I really like to see what they could do with that Le Male DNA. I felt like, I heard that even the Jean Paul Gaultier was bought out or partially bought out, and they haven't done anything terribly creative, or their fragrances haven't been, I don't know, they haven't been exciting to a lot of people. I'm really curious to see how well these fragrances sell. Sometimes the fragrance community is its own little bubble. The fragrance community is its own little world, and we don't sometimes see, what fragrances are still buying, and sometimes we don't focus maybe on the average person out there. Like, people are still buying Aqua di Gio. When I talked about Vera Wang Princess was a top seller, some fragrance reviewers didn't believe me, or they thought I was crazy. But Vera Wang Princess is a pretty big top seller, and there's fragrances out there that we might not think are great, or might not talk about them, but somebody out there cares about them. Somebody does. So, should be coming out in a month. I'll keep my eye out. I'm excited to hear more about that one. Um, I'm really interested in that. We'll see how it goes. I've always wanted to own a Le Male that I liked. If y'all are longtime viewers of my channel, y'all know that I had In the Navy, and I ended up giving that to my brother for Christmas. I liked it. It's quite a good mass appealing fragrance, but it wasn't something that was just perfect for me. But it's still a pretty good mass appealing fragrance. As far as the blue trend of fragrances goes, it's a pretty good one. It's not bad. Sounds great, Benjamin. We can drink plum liqueur while talking about fragrances. That'd be fun. I've never tried that plum liqueur, and maybe some of that New Zealand stuff I've never tried. So I could listen to you all day. You're fascinating to me with your knowledge. Well, I'm glad that you like my voice and my knowledge. I certainly do try to learn, and I certainly do try to absorb as much as I can. You know, be the sponge, as people like to joke and say. You know, learn as much as you can. You know, again, when I talk about fragrances in general, I sometimes wonder if I scare people off because with my personality, and I can jump from topic to topic or fragrance to fragrance so quickly, and I've had times where I've had 5, 6, 7 people on live, and people just jump away because I start comparing fragrances so quickly. I don't know. Maybe if I should take things at a slower pace. Anyways, I, I definitely talk and focus on fragrance. I can joke around and take it easy, but I definitely focus on fragrance. Let me know if y'all want to see more of my personal life. I don't have anything terribly interesting, at least in my opinion, with my life, but I am an outdoorsman and a woodsman. I've been tempted to and thinking about making a YouTube video. I do a lot of outwood stuff. I was actually watching a guy fell a tree. You know, that's the word for chopping down a tree, and I mean, he was a fun guy. I don't know how long he worked and built up his YouTube channel, but he was just went outside with a couple of nice axes and showed him sharpening the axes and had kind of a fun, easygoing personality. And he had that YouTube video had 1.5 million views. I can go out here and record myself having fun and showing y'all how to chop down a tree with a bunch of axes. It's like I could do that. It's really funny. The world we live in. It's really funny. But I'll have to see what y'all think about that. And I just bought a bunch of exotic, high quality woods. Some of them were from Africa. One of them is called brown heart wood. And I bought one of the woods. I forget what it's called. It starts with an M. Anyways, it's one of the most densest woods in the world. And when you hold it, you might even think it's of metal because it weighs so much. It's super super dense and heavy. It's one of those woods that's as dense or as heavy as ironwood, and that wood was called ironwood. I don't know if y'all know about those kinds of things, but I find it fascinating, and I'll be putting some knives together with that wood. I bought some Hele blanks, but again, if you're looking for a project, if you have any tools, if you're a crafty person, and maybe you want to have something really nice for going outdoors, maybe for cooking in the kitchen, it's real easy to buy a $15 blank. That's what they're called, like a pre-sharpened, it's already heat treated, it's already ready to go from Mora. And all you have to do is like burn through with a handle or drill out a little bit and have a little wood handle and like glue it in there. It's best that you actually peen the end of it, which means that you have a little bit of metal poking out of the end of the handle, and then you have like a little something brass, and then you hammer it and flatten that so you have some tension that holds the knife together. But it's something that I really care about, and Hele knives are from Finland, and I do like the Finnish people. The Finnish are pretty awesome. They have Nightwish. They seem to have a pretty awesome culture and everything. So, anyways, let's see. Lucas Poe is in the house. Everybody's popping in. Hey, my friend, and awesome fragrance reviewer. If y'all don't know who Lucas Poe is, he has an awesome personality. He has a little bit of humor. He throws a little bit more of it in his videos than I do. I come across as very dry, but very, very, he's awesome. I don't know, if when you're gonna catch on, but you're one of those guys. You should definitely catch on, and you put a lot of work into your editing, and that's a good thing. I guess I want to take things more at an easygoing pace. But Banjo, are you going to blow stuff up later to celebrate? No, I don't have any of that. What's it called? Tannerite? I don't have any of that. But you can buy that, and especially in my state, and people do that kind of stuff. But no, I'm still trying to build up my life. Y'all probably are really really tired of me talking about budgeting, but I don't have a crazy amount of money. Do y'all know how expensive Tannerite is when people explode stuff in those videos? Like To buy one little container of that stuff is upwards of 20. You could probably buy it in bulk, but that's like $20 to $40. And to the degree that they actually explode stuff, and some of those videos they're using like five of those, and they're using it's like $100 worth of stuff just for a couple seconds of an explosion, and it's fun and all, but no, I definitely not. But I definitely believe in freedom and all. I'm definitely 4th of July. I believe in it. I'm probably not going to be the redneck who shoots stuff up in the air, but I don't know. People around here do that kind of stuff, especially for New Year's Eve. So some people are really against that stuff, but that's where I live. So I was told Dunhill Icon is better than Terre d'Hermes. I blind bought a bottle arriving Monday, not sure what to expect. To me, Dunhill Icon is a little bit more fresh feeling. It's a little bit more easygoing. The Terre d'Hermes definitely has a lot more character to it, in my opinion, and the Terre d'Hermes comes off as higher quality. Now, it really depends on your personal taste. The Dunhill Icon, again, doesn't have as much character, and but it doesn't have that bitter, maybe old orange smelling opening, which some people don't like. And the vetiver in the Hermes comes through a lot more, and the geranium makes it feel a lot more green. So you might like a more like lemony take. It's not exactly more lemony, but it almost comes off that way with Dunhill Icon. So if you think that Terre d'Hermes is too strong, if you think it performs too well, some people want something more easygoing. Dunhill Icon certainly is a good fragrance, but I'm personally not crazy about it. It's more of like an office fragrance or a inoffensive, fresh vetiver fragrance, I guess you could say. But it's not bad at all. It's all depends on your personal preference. Some people really don't like the orange in the original Terre d'Hermes. Some people think the vetiver is too heavy. Some people don't like green fragrances at all, with the geranium floral kind of feel that Terre d'Hermes has. I really like the Eau Fraiche version, and I might end up buying for a winter version the Parfum one of these days. I've almost bought it a couple times, but we'll have to see about that. Le Male, anyways, Le Male Essence is a great pop synth fragrance. Big, sweet, strong bottle it emits. It smells a bit neon. You know more about that than I do, Rich. Are you on that rave scene? Are you into that psychedelic stuff, my friend? Some of that stuff is crazy. I am really into crazy different types of music, and synth stuff is really funny. Synth 80s and 90s music I find is quite interesting, and sometimes I do listen to it. I don't know why. Retro synth 80s music. I don't know why I like that stuff. Uh, and they use icons and like the style of almost like Mr. Miami Cuddles uses for his like 80s Miami Vice kind of vibe. It's kind of funny. But maybe you're into the German scene. You're into that hardcore stuff, that dark electronic stuff, man. I don't know. You tell us. Tell us your secrets, Rich Mitch, the little rubber ducky. Have you seen the video of the old Soviet tools being restored? Awesome. I don't know if I've seen that video, but I do watch an awful lot of stuff like that, where people, fix and repair stuff, and people go outside and explore. I love videos of people foraging out in the woods for food and learning about nature. There's so much stuff out there. It's fascinating to me. I love watching people who are rock hounds or people who go out there and hunt for crystals. There's so many beautiful things out there. People out there with like picks and hammers, and they find those veins of like quartz and all those beautiful things. It's wonderful. Finland is brilliant. Yeah, Finland has some of the best musicians. I think that, at least as far as I know, that they have a lot of wonderful musicians and talent that comes out of Finland. I like that old Slavic kind of culture. I'm really drawn to it. Again, people watch Game of Thrones. I watch Vikings. People, I don't know. They're interested in some things, and I definitely have a different type of, I guess, personality attitude towards life in some regards. So, do you have most complimented of all time? And do you like Byredo? Interesting that you bring up Byredo. I'll talk about that in a second. But my most complimented fragrance of all time, it, it's really kind of slanted because when I first got into fragrances, I was a younger guy at college, and I was around a lot more people, so I got a lot more compliments. I wore my Nautica Voyage and my Dylan Blue were my two most complimented fragrances, definitely of all time. Dylan Blue and Nautica Voyage were outstanding and always did a crazy job. I didn't get actual compliments, but like reactions. Bentley, for Man Intense, which everybody talks about, did a wonderful job at college as well. So, and do you like Byredo? Byredo, no, y'all know that I'm not crazy about Byredo. I think that they're decent. I think that some people will like them, and I don't want to bash on any brand, particularly. But none of them are anything I would personally buy, unless I found Black Saffron for like $80 or Elevator Music, for below 100. I personally wouldn't buy those for their money, for the price. Some people really like Ball to Freak. I think that things like Timbuktu are far better. I think Gypsy Water is kind of fascinating in its own way, but I still don't know about the price. For me, in my personal opinion, if you could get it for a good price for about 150 odd dollars for a lady, and Carly, if you're still watching, I do think that the Mojave Ghost is pretty fascinating, even though it's kind of simple, and it does have this interesting quality about it. The Mojave Ghost, I really like that one. For a lady, I personally probably wouldn't wear it, for me personally, but it's pretty good. But just like Galavant, I haven't tried the new. I forget, it's the Los Angeles that everybody seems to be talking about. But I have a discovery set of Galavant, and I haven't reviewed all the fragrances from those. I don't think I've reviewed any of them yet. I have a discovery set. Anyways, none of those fragrances were crazy for me. They're lighter feeling, they're fresher, they're easygoing. Nothing's wrong with them. But for that price and for that money, I'm looking for really rich, intoxicating, deep, dark, daring, scary niche. If I am ever going to pay that kind of crazy amount of money, 200, $300 for a fragrance, I don't want something light and easygoing and fresh, for that kind of money. Absolutely not. I can get light, easygoing, fresh. It's not the same quality, but I can get light, happy, compliment getting, easygoing, fresh citrus fragrances every day of the week for 40, 50, 60, $70. So that's just my opinion. I want rare, unusual ingredients and a lot of work put into the blending of the fragrance, and I'm sure that's how I feel about it. So Dunhill Icon is going to be like a soft performing designer fragrance. It's going to feel more like a designer fragrance, yeah. Terre d'Hermes has a little bit more personality. It's a little bit more unique, in my opinion, than the Dunhill Icon. But Dunhill Icon is great for the office. It's great for when you want to be inoffensive, and still smell kind of upscale. Still smell perhaps a little bit professional, but it smells a little bit more casual. To me, Terre d'Hermes certainly has a little bit of class to it, but you could dress it up or dress it down. I love Terre d'Hermes' performance. To me, Dunhill Icon did not perform as well as Terre d'Hermes. It didn't have terrible longevity, perhaps, but it definitely did not project as well as Terre d'Hermes did, at least on my skin. Dylan Blue is lovely. I bet you rocked that one. Yeah, people were crazy about Dylan Blue. It stopped, people in their tracks. Dylan Blue is a big compliment getter, and for a while I tried to get the word out. I didn't want to hype it up, but Dylan Blue, it has sweetness to it. It smells a little bit more rich. It has a papyrus note, which I can smell the papyrus, and I think it comes off as more unique. It still has that blue shower gel vibe, that's in Bleu de Chanel and Sauvage and those kinds of things. But I still think that Dylan Blue is a little bit more unique. It might be overbearing. It might be annoying. I know a certain fragrance reviewer actually really dislikes it, but as far as blue fragrances go, I think it's probably the best out of the bunch. That's my opinion, though. I really don't like the Sauvage EDT. The EDP and the Parfum's much better. I don't even like Bleu de Chanel EDT. I think the EDP is the best of the Bleu de Chanels. But that Dylan Blue worked magic. It really did. Carly Wiley says, we'll try to check that Byredo perfume out. Yeah, that Mojave Ghost, it's not terribly unique, but it has a very good like trail to it. It's pretty long lasting, and it just has this quality behind it. And if you like plum, and I was thinking of your serene vibe. Maybe that's what you go for, and it definitely has that kind of quality. Maybe you could wear that like what's that style called? It's like Western chic. I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff with like kind of like almost like sundress looking gowns and that kind of stuff. I could imagine like one of those Texan type ladies wearing some Mojave Ghost. So maybe somebody like you, Carly, wearing a fragrance like that. So, anyways, any more questions? Any more thoughts? Casey says, "Okay, Ben, I got my fragrance net app. Oh no, here we go again. What should I put on the cart? Just give me something to try. Don't worry about making a mistake." Casey, I don't know if, again, I worry too much about people judging me. Just because Fragrance by CA gave me a free fragrance, that's not going to make me become a believer just because of that. I had been buying from Fragrance by CA. You might want to check them out, Casey. You might want to go to fragrancebyca.com. The sale is still up today, the 5th, and I think it ends on the 6th. But they have some of the great fragrances that sometimes don't have the biggest selection that FragranceNet has, but they do have sometimes fragrances that FragranceNet doesn't even have. And their prices are sometimes better. And with the 10% off and the free shipping, you're definitely going to get out, with a screaming deal. They're the best prices around, really. They are. Fragrance by CA with the 10% off. I mean, they beat out FragranceNet most of the time. And again, that's even including like the 35 or 37% off of FragranceNet. Really, Fragrance by CA has that good of prices. I'm not even joking. And they do come from Canada with free shipping if you spend the 113. I'm not exaggerating, guys. Fragrance by CA. So fragrance, and then the word by, put that together, and then CA for Canada. Fragrance by CA. That's the one. And I put a video about it today. I put out a bunch of recommendations of fragrances that I think are stunning. If you do want something super easy to wear, they have Nautica Voyage on there for like $10. I hope that y'all saw that video today about Fragrance by CA. They have some screaming deals. I tried to highlight some of them, and some of the stuff that really stuck out to me. But a lot of the really good fragrances are already sold out. Gentsense did a video, and their fragrances already sell out in general. So a lot of the fragrances are sold out really fast. They still had that Rochas Man in stock, which was like $36. Sometimes it's hard to find. I don't know if it's still in stock. I put out that video. It might still be in stock, but $36 for that Rochas Man that everybody is still pretty crazy about. That's a crazy deal. Sorry, that's fireworks. I'm in the South, and again, around here, people are allowed, and it's legal to buy mortars, so you can buy pretty big fireworks around here. We have those like stick fireworks that you hold, and a lot of the people have ones that are thin. We can buy ones that are like as thick as quarters around here almost. So people are lighting fireworks all the time around here. It's pretty crazy. Says, I'm going to check out the shops tomorrow. A nice deal on Bulgari. Most likely Wood Neroli. Yeah, a lot of people really like that fragrance. I'm really partial to the Man in Black line. I really think that Man in Black, the regular one, the Man in Black Black Orient, the Man in Black Cologne are just, the Cologne version. I like them all. They all work for me. Really, really good juice. Anyways, Casey, if you're looking for suggestions to explore more fragrances, let me know. What kind of notes are you looking for? What kind of situations are you looking for fragrances in? I don't know if you bought a date night fragrance. I think that every guy needs a date night fragrance. Every Old Reliables, La Nuit de L'Homme by, Yves Saint Laurent. Everybody knows it. Everybody talks about it. It's been reformed to death. It's a real shame. But if you know that you're only going to need a fragrance to last an hour or 2 hours, if you know that you're going to get close to the person, that fragrance is still good. Oh, you're looking to take a risk. Okay, let me think. If you're looking for something with crazy performance, there's some crazy good deals on some of the more oud-heavy Montals. If you're looking for some of those on Fragrance by CA, there's still some of those there. Can you talk about Bond Number 9? I don't. I've tried like 12 of them, but I don't even remember what most of them are. Most of them to me were pretty boring, pretty synthetic. I don't want to beat up on the House of Bond Number 9. There's a fragrance reviewer, and I don't know. I don't want to make accusations of who's bought and paid, but one guy is hyping up Bond Number 9, hyping up Bond Number 9 all the time, and I don't. Again, everybody has a different nose and different opinion, but Bond Number 9, just most of their fragrances smell synthetic. Most of them have decent performance, but not great in my experience. Some of them do really well, but some of them are more on the average side, and the quality just does not smell great, especially for the money. Most of the Bond Number 9s, I wouldn't even pay $150 for them if I had the money. I might buy Ches Bond if I can get it close to $100 one of these days. That's probably my favorite, but it's mass appealing. It's easy going. It might seem like a very boring option from Bond Number 9, but it's kind of the one that smells of the best quality to my nose from Bond Number 9. New Harlem, it might be discontinued, I'm not sure. It used to get a lot of talk. Mautak, Mautak, something like that. Used to get a lot of hype and a lot of talk as well. From Bond Number 9, I'm trying to remember. The Andy Warhol, which is discontinued, highly coveted fragrance. On the discounted market, people charge you $500 plus. That one was really good. But and a lot of people still talk about Bleecker Street a lot. Bleecker Street is still fairly popular. It's an interesting blueberry, grassy fragrance, and pretty good smelling. It doesn't have a lot of complexity though. I wish that there was another note in the dry down, something interesting in the dry down to really wrap things together. It's just 2 notes. It just smells like blueberry, sweet, and grass. But it's not a bad smell at all. So. Let me get to the comments and maybe I can talk about some more suggestions about fragrances stuff for you, Casey. Gucci Guilty for high risk smells like bandages. Yeah, that Gucci Guilty Absolute. It's a flanker of Gucci Guilty. It's I think the newest one if I remember right. But I like that fragrance. If you like violet, if you like things like Fahrenheit, if you like things with big, bold, masculine personalities, kind of fragrance, it's really, really good. If you like Duro by Nasomato, you probably will like Gucci Guilty Absolute. If you like Soul by Costume National or Ombre Sultan from Serge Lutens, you probably will like Gucci Guilty Absolute. There have been some really high level people, some perfumers and people really high up in the fragrance industry who have said that Gucci Guilty Absolute is a masterpiece. I think it's pretty well done. Even though it's very sharp and bold and kind of aggressive, it's really well blended. It's kind of linear, but yet still has nice nuances. And I wouldn't be amazed that once that fragrance dries up, once it gets discontinued, I wouldn't be amazed that that one gets fairly expensive as well. Even there is a cult following for Gucci Guilty Absolute. It's quite nice. If you do like that kind of stuff. Chinatown is a love. Oh yes, you were telling me about that cloud-based scents. From Bond Number 9, Chinatown does get some talk. I don't remember all the notes. I don't remember the details, but it is more of a floral fragrance. And I could be mistaken, but doesn't it have like a cherry blossom kind of smell to it? What Montal do you recommend? On Fragrance by CA, all the ones that I would really recommend, I think, are sold out for the most part. I really like Saffron Oud, but it's very bold, very heavy on the saffron. I think Chocolate Greedy's still in stock. If you want to smell like a chocolate bar, Casey. If you haven't had a gourmand fragrance, you might want to go for that. I've heard that it has a rubber note. I don't remember if I've ever smelled Chocolate Greedy. I think that Starry Nights is fantastic. It's sold out. I would have recommended that one to you. That one's really nice. They have. I'm trying to remember. There's a couple. I really want Arabian's Tonka, but I think it's sold out as well. Um, that's one I definitely want to buy in the future. That Arabian's Tonka. If you like a kind of like a Arabian take on a fougere, and and you really like lavender, you might like the regular Arabians. The lavender that comes through on that fragrance is one of the highest quality lavenders I've ever smelled. The lavender is absolutely fantastic. There's actually somebody who was I saw somebody online who actually criticized Montal because they were using non-IFRA compliant lavender. So the lavender is definitely higher quality, and they might have broke a rule or two. I don't know what they did, but some people were supposedly really mad at Montal with Arabians for using that lavender in that way. Maybe it's not. It comes from a place that's not very sustainable. I'm not sure, but the lavender in Arabians is quite fantastic. Carly says, "Well, Benjamin, I'm going to have to leave this party a little earlier, and although my and all out of my plum liqueur. Oh, the party stopped. Great to catch you. You have a great weekend, lovely. Well, you too, Carly. Have a great weekend. Take it easy. Have some fun. Enjoy some great food out there, and I hope that you're doing well out there in the beautiful New Zealand." So happy to see you, Carly. Thanks for popping in, and you're always a ray of sunshine. So. Montal Wave Musk. Yes, I, I get those mixed up. I don't think I've smelled that one. I think there's one called like Windwood by Monsara. Some of those names seem so similar. Anyways, yeah, I don't think I've smelled that one. What's that one like? Is it ambergris? Is it is it more like an aquatic fragrance? What is that Wave Musk all about? Anyways, yeah, Casey. If you're looking for a risky fragrance for the money, for the value, I'm trying to think of something that's really good, but also might be fairly risky. We already got that Gucci Guilty Absolute out of the way. Um, what could be risky and really good? I'm trying to think of what might work for you. I don't know. Do you like Iris? Have you tried any of the Valentino fragrances? Mancera Wave Musk, I meant. Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'm like, I don't know. There might see. I wasn't gonna say anything. I'd believe you. For all I know, Montal does have some kind of wave wind fragrance. A lot of the fragrances have very similar names, and they can they're kind of easy to confuse. And no problem there, Cloud Base Sense. No problem at all. Ronald Japinga says Encre Noir is risky. Yeah, if you like vetiver, that's a good one to suggest. On my video today, my Fragrance by CA video, I talked about the Encre Noir Ella Extreme. Really, really good fragrance. Boozy, very intense fragrance, kind of bold. And it's only like $22 on Fragrance by CA. So that one you might be interested in that one as well. Definitely a little bit more risky, a lot of personality, a very long-lasting, high-quality smelling fragrance for the money. I don't know if you have any Fougères in your collection, but I often recommend it. The Lalique Pour Homme, the one with the lion's head, is really, really good for the money. Fantastic quality smelling fragrance. Smells classy. Some people might think it smells a little bit old school. Very, very good juice, though. Lalique Pour Homme. Really, really good stuff, if you like Fougères. Sorry, somebody's lighting fireworks very close to me right now. Anyways. What kind... Casey, are you still here? What kind of fragrances specifically are you looking for? And everybody jump in. Talk about fragrances that you've been liking recently, or have you bought anything recently? Are there any fragrances that you're absolutely crazy about? For me personally, one fragrance that really surprised me, I had super, super low expectations for this fragrance, guys. Terribly low expectations. The Guess Seductive Noir. It's not terribly unique. It has that mass appealing cologne vibe, but it's one of those fragrances, and you can go to Fragrance Fragrantica. They say the same thing. They say, I don't know why, I don't know how, but ladies are absolutely crazy about it. It just smells like a cologne, mass appealing mall kind of vibe fragrance, but then it has a lot of tonka to it. It's very sweet. It's pretty intoxicating. I don't know why, guys, But check out that fragrance. It's like 20 bucks out there, and it's flying under the radar. Almost nobody's talking about it. And if you're on a budget, if you want a date night fragrance, if you like Tonka, and if you like sweet, Guess Seductive Noir is definitely a winner. If that's what you're looking for. Says I'm here. Hey Casey, what kind of fragrances are you looking for? Like, is there a certain situation? Do you have a classy fragrance yet? Do you have a date fragrance? Do you have a party fragrance? I mean, what are we looking for? What are we talking about? Cloud-based scent says Comme des Garçons frags are risky. Yes, they are. Comme des Garçons have a lot of personality, and sometimes they don't feel particularly well blended, and sometimes they're linear. Sometimes they don't have a lot of notes. It's a really mixed bag. Some of them supposedly, some people really like them. They must be doing well because Comme des Garçons does release a lot of fragrances. They must be doing well. Somebody must be buying them. I'm really curious to know who's buying them and where they sell a lot of those fragrances. One of my favorites is Wonder Oud. It's not a scary oud at all. It smells more of almost like a Tom Ford-esque fragrance. It has more of like a patchouli vibe. And really, really nice fragrance for that dark, seductive feel. Again, that's Wonder Oud by Comme des Garçons. But that one's not terribly cheap. It is a little bit more expensive. So, Casey says, I bought Creed's Green Irish Tweed recently. It's okay, but for $200, it's not a wow. I feel the same way, especially for the price. Green Irish Tweed has never been fantastic for me. In my opinion, Green Valley, which is vaulted and discontinued, was much better than Green Irish Tweed. I thought that Green Valley was far, far better, and I'm kind of sad that they discontinued Green Valley. I really like that fragrance. Green Irish Tweed smells good. It smells very professional. It's kind of laid back, but I mean, if you're going for that, I think Boisé de Portugal is much better. Or you could get Kaleidoscope by Daniel Hossier. And I don't know. I like my Terre d'Hermes Eau Très Fresh for geranium or anything slightly green. So, I don't know. Yeah, I feel you. Not a terribly good value for the money, in my opinion. But I know some people out there love Green Irish Tweed. It's like the best thing around. So, anyways, Imaginary Author City on Fire is super challenging. Yes, that's Smokey Fougere. City on... No, that's Burning Barbershop. City on Fire. I don't remember if I smelled the City on Fire one. Yeah, a lot of people, smoky notes are difficult. A lot of people don't like smoke, or smoke is challenging and difficult and all that stuff. So, definitely, you know, that might be one to look into. Imaginary Authors, I usually don't find fantastic prices on those. Let me know, where can you find a good Imaginary Authors for the price? Is there any discount? Are there any discounters that carry those? I also bought Florist Elite recently. I like it, the barbershop scent, but $430, it's a bit steep. Kirby Allison, I did a live stream with Florist, so I dove in. I got a pop-up and I watched that as well. My dad actually got that fragrance too. He really, really likes it. I bought the soap for him for Christmas, the hand soap, and he dived into the brand. He loves Florist Elite. It is a pretty darn good, fougere like fragrance. It's got some spicy elements. It's kind of green. It's yeah, $130 might be kind of pricey, but compared to Creed, I mean, Florist Elite to me beats out Creed in my opinion for the Green Irish Tweed. What's a scent that brings back the strongest personal memory? I don't know. I remember Gray Flannel because it choked me out and I thought it was really terrible. I think it's from Bogart, but Silver Scent or Silver Scent Intense, whatever it was called, that was a really bad fragrance memory as well. Another bad fragrance memory was Mugler Cologne, the Green Irish soap. For some reason on my skin, that fragrance never does well. Especially Neroli never does well on my skin either. And I smelled like a cat. I smelled pretty bad with that fragrance. One day it got really hot. I got kind of sweaty, and it wasn't me. It was my skin chemistry with the fragrance, and I smelled like cat. You don't know what I'm talking about. And it was terrible. And that's one reason I had to get rid of that fragrance. It did not work for me in the high summer heat on my skin. It smelled absolutely rank. It smelled terrible. Animalic like a beast, and it was bad. But some good fragrance memories. Again, Dylan Blue. Nautica Voyage usually just got me. Nautica Voyage just got me like casual compliments, like "Oh, you smell good," like passing by, just like "Oh, that's nice," like cheerful. But Dylan Blue at college, it was like a showstopper. It just got me noticed in a really positive ways, and I really like that about that fragrance. What also, Pure Tonka is one of my biggest fragrant memories from Mugler. That works really well with my personality, and I was like chased and followed a couple times with that fragrance because it's very sweet and intoxicating. It projects very well, and it's kind of unique. If you encounter people or if you're around people who've never smelled a Mugler fragrance, or with that patchouli, with that rubber, and with that sweetness, and maybe they've never smelled a gourmand fragrance either. Pure Tonka, I mean, it was a showstopper, and I had a gal, and she was supposed to be working that day at work, but I was like, "Aren't you gonna go?" And she is like, "No," it's just because she wanted to smell that fragrance. It was crazy, it was crazy. So something for me, anyways. That's most of the biggest ones I can remember. So something for me, I live in Hawaii, so shipping is always a concern. Fragrance Net makes it easy. Lots of places don't ship fragrances. Okay, I understand. No problem. Yeah, Fragrance by CA might not be so willing to ship to Canada. I mean, from Canada to Hawaii, if I can even speak right. And the dog's going crazy over there. Terre d'Hermes, fresh. What for geraniums? I was just talking about the Terre d'Hermes DNA. It has geranium. It's what gives it that green, fresh quality. All those Terre d'Hermes fragrances have it, but the Eau Tres Fresh, O and then Tres Tres is a little bit fresher. It's a little bit easier going. It's more citrusy. It's not as earthy. It smells a little bit more mineral like in the dry down. I think it's really nice. If you like Terre d'Hermes, but maybe you want something better for the summer months, you might really like it. Depending on if I don't with in Hawaii, I'm assuming it gets pretty hot over there, doesn't it? I think it does. You might really like that one. I'm really if you live in Hawaii, do y'all like tropical floral notes? Do y'all like frangipani? I'm really curious to know, like, do y'all like florals over there, or what kind of fragrances people like in Hawaii? You got me really curious. Do people like sweeter scents, citrusy scents? Or what do they like over there? You got to let me know. Abraham Johnson says my scent of the day is Passion Boisé by Frappin. I need to try that one. Passion Boisé. I've tried, what is it called, like Man of Island or Man of Isle, and the 1270. I've tried a few of them. A lot of those Frappins to me smelled quite good. They smelled really good, but they didn't have very good longevity, and that was my only complaint. If those fragrances would give me like 8 hours of performance, I'd be so happy with Frappin. I probably would talk about them, but most of the fragrances just didn't perform very well on me, and I don't know. That just might be me. Let's see. I do Floris Elite. It's the best barbershop scent in my opinion. Yeah, Floris Elite is a fantastic barbershop. If y'all are out there and for the money, again, that Elite Pour Homme, in my opinion, one of the best fougères. But if you want something more green and more spicy, that Floris Elite is, again, that's another fragrance flying under the radar. If you like barbershops, fantastic. And I like the House of Florists. Again, I try to give them a mention. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I do try to mention them if I get the chance. Like Saphiro is one of the best citruses I've smelled. Very unisex. Ladies, if you have a lady in your life, you want to share a fragrance, or you just want something that's very unisex, Floris's Saphiro is also really, really good. I think that Redolescence also really likes that fragrance. Although I meant a more sentimental value. Um, like when I smelled it and it was personally something that I really liked, like really special for me personally. I don't know. Fan Your Flames by Nichane was the first fragrance I ever truly decided to buy. It's a very expensive purchase. I really love the fragrance. It's a fragrance that's very special to me, and that's one reason I spoke about it so positively. It's it's a fragrance that just works for me. It's gorgeous. It's complex. It's very rich and inviting, and has a lot of personality. Good, very good performance. Uh, that's just a fragrance I'm crazy about. So let's see here. I have Pure Malt by Mugler. It's a bit sweet and heavy, but in the right setting, I like it. Yeah, Pure Malt is quite nice. Some people think it should be a little bit more interesting. It's been reformulated. It's still, but I still think it's a pretty good, sweet, boozy fragrance with a little bit of that, that rubber patchouli kind of DNA, Mugler DNA throughout it. So, Pure Malt, still a good fragrance. Might have been better in the past. In my opinion, Pure Tonka's on the top is the best, and then Pure Havana and Pure Malt are kind of like a tie. I really don't want to decide between either of the two, but to me, those are the best of the best from Mugler. Some people like the Crypto Mint, some people like the Ultra Zest. I never really liked the original Angel Men, the original fragrance. I'm glad that they decided to make flankers. I'm very happy that they did. Pure Coffee was good. I liked it, but it didn't last terribly long, and for the price, I don't know if I wanted to go for it. Pure Wood was decent. It's actually a great woody fragrance, but for me personally, I'm not crazy about wearing a fragrance that's just woody and sweet. I don't know why, but if you do like woody fragrances. But again, all those fragrances are kind of rare and discontinued and getting expensive, so it's a shame with those Muglers. We're talking about the musky fragrances recently, and I had to look online just to buy Franck Baclet. It is like an awesome fragrance on Fragrantica. I need to try it out. Yeah, I don't think I've tried that one. There's so many fragrances out there, and yes, you can learn a lot from people on FragranceNet and from YouTube. YouTube, a lot of fragrance reviewers are doing the top 10 list, so a lot of lists might not seem that unique or might not be showcasing a lot of the interesting fragrances. But Fragrance by, or no, Fragrantica, too many things with websites with the name fragrance in them. Anyways, Fragrantica is a great place with a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge. They do tend to love or, I guess, hype the vintage style fragrances, but there's a lot of people there with a lot of knowledge, and a lot of them are very friendly and good. Some of them do beat up on new releases. Some people, there are just focused on vintage fragrances, but they're not bad. They're not bad. Fragrantica is a great place overall. But take some things with a grain of salt. If it's a newer designer release, I don't know if you know Casey, but if it's a newer fragrance release on Fragrance by CA, I don't know if people hire people from other brands or companies. I don't know what kind of bad business and bad blood's going on, but there's been times where fragrances are downvoted by the hundreds or upvoted by the hundreds before the fragrance is really even out to the public. So sometimes, you gotta take some of those things with a grain of salt with those reviews, but still a great resource. Still a great place to learn a little bit. Let's see. It's actually not that hot in Hawaii. It's more like spring weather, 75 to 85 with no humidity and an ocean breeze. That's fantastic. In the hot summer months here in the south where I live, we get to 90, 95 degrees with all very high concentrations of humidity. It's pretty much, good old Florida weather around here in the summer months. So it gets absolutely crazy. Sorry about that. Again with the fireworks, and it's getting crazy over here. Anyways, let me catch up with the comments. Sorry if I'm distracted. There's these little metal shavings from this project I was doing, and they're stabbing me. Casey says La Lake Pour Homme. What is that? It's a great fragrance. You can definitely go to Fragrantica and see what other people think about it. You can often find it for about $20. It's a great fougere, but it smells a little bit more modern in my opinion, a little bit more classy, a little bit more like an aromatic. And some people think when you say aromatic, it means transparent or something. When I say aromatic, I'm talking about like freshness with citrus and herbs, and it has that certain quality about it that it's invigorating, and then all those fancy words that people use. So it's a great fragrance. It's very fresh, but it's very clean. It smells classy, and it's one of the best bangs for your buck. To me, it's one of the best cheapies out there on the market. One of the best affordable fragrances for the money, hands down. It's really hard to beat. and but it does smell classy. It does smell a little bit upscale. Some people say it smells like the Boss. If you want to smell like the Boss, it's a great fragrance. So, again, it's the one with the lion's head, not the horse head. Don't, in my personal opinion, don't buy the one with the horse head. Is that one's called Equius. It's very very dry, very very leathery, kind of spicy. A very very dry, intense leather fragrance, and Equius, I personally think was not. It wasn't very great. I bought it, and that's one of the ones I took a risk on. Like you take risks, and I sold it because I didn't like it. Anyways, any more questions? Anybody? Any more thoughts, opinions, feelings, and the like? We've had a pretty good live. That are we wrapping it up, or do y'all have any more thoughts and feelings? Lalique Pour Homme is a great cheapie, and again, can't find Lalique Pour Homme anywhere. Is it sold out? Um, can you, if you go to an easy way to find fragrances, if it's hard for you to find something, is to go to Fragrantica, type it in, search Lalique Pour Homme there, and right below the title, and on top of on top of the notes, and slightly below the title on the top of the page, it'll actually show you, a bunch of places that are selling it. Well, Fragrantica is that probably getting a kickback, which is the funny thing. Everybody freaks out about affiliate links. For all we know, Fragrantica is the biggest affiliate link provider of all. I don't know. It's probably true. But, yeah, it'll show you FragranceNet. It'll show you, I don't know, Fragrance X. I don't know if it shows Notino anymore. It'll show places on eBay. And it'll curate, find for you all those fragrances. Don't know, maybe I'm searching wrong. Lalique, just search Lalique. Go to, when you're at FragranceNet, just go to search Lalique, and just look at all the fragrances. And there's one that's just the Pour Homme, and it has like a lion's head. It's indented in the middle of the bottle, and it shouldn't be too hard to find. Or just search like Law. To like type that in there if you're really desperate, and you'll probably eventually find it. Ultra Supra says, I'm late to the party today. No problem. Thanks for popping in, and thanks for saying hello. Got a question, Ben. Do you think Hobdon is masculine enough for guys? Oh, absolutely. That Lalique, not Lalique, Latent Exclusive and Hobdon are my two favorites from Parfums de Marly, and I've said that quite a few times. I think that Hobdon's absolutely gorgeous. It's unisex, perhaps, but if I had my guess, I would think that ladies would think it leans masculine, or probably would think that men are more easy to like. It's a little bit more comfortable for men to wear it. Again, in this age where you have to be careful, or some people don't like you speaking of things based on gender or not. It's it's kind of hard, or sometimes people don't want to make a distinction. Hobdon is very unisex, but I do think that men probably will enjoy it wearing it a little bit more than the ladies. The ladies probably will find it slightly masculine. There are going to be some ladies who like to wear it. I'm sure that there's some ladies out there, especially Arabian ladies, who probably do feel like it's more of a feminine fragrance, because the Arabians think that even Arabian ladies in the Middle East wear ouds. But I think Hobdon's great, and if you like things like Yves Saint Laurent, Les Parfums, if you like what's that fragrance called? Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. If you like those kinds of fragrances, Hobdon's just a little bit more intense and has a little bit more personality. I think it's gorgeous. Hobdon is on my buy list for sure. It's definitely on my buy list. I'm gonna buy that one day. I found it by just searching Lalique. I'm happy that you found it. It's a great value. You can get close to $20, and quite a good fragrance in my opinion. Harry says, back in 2006, I bought Lalique Le Fawn Purple Juice, beautiful fragrance, sadly discontinued. I've seen that one at Fragrantica. I've been really curious. Harry, will you let us know what it smells like? I've seen that fragrance, but I don't know much about it. Yeah, it's discontinued. There's a lot of fragrances that are hard to get and rare, and that's one of them. You're not going to find that fragrance, and if you do, it's going to be probably pretty expensive. Um, anyways, Lalique Lion is supposed to be pretty close to Boisé de Portugal. That Lalique Lion, Lalique Pour Homme, I could see that. I could see that it has some similarities. The Boisé de Portugal smells a little bit sweeter. It's a little bit more well-rounded, perhaps, and it certainly does come off as a little bit more green. But I could perhaps see where there's some comparisons and how it feels. I could see that. Dingo L, hey man, how you doing? Happy to see you pop in, my friend. How's it going? Hobdon smells something from Tom Ford to me. Can't remember which one, but it smells like it though. Yeah, if I was to compare it to any Tom Ford, personally, I would say it smells like Noir Extreme. I do think it smells somewhat distantly similar, and when I do comparisons like that, it's more of like a frame of reference. They're two different fragrances. They do smell different, but if you put them side to side, you might think that there are similarities, which are quite amazing. And Noir Extreme, if you thought it didn't have enough performance for you, and if maybe you thought that it didn't have enough personality, by golly, you might just like that Hobdon as much as I do. So Harry says, I don't know much about these unisex frags. I catch my wife wearing my stuff. Um, I'm wearing her panties. Oh man, you're a bunch of your bundle of laughs there, Harry. But yeah, again, fragrances. There's no gender. There's no limit on fragrances. There's anybody can wear anything. Always wear what you want, even if it's marketed towards women, even if it's in the ladies section. Wear what you want. There's no limit to scent. There's no reason why yellow aldehydes or neroli or rose should has to be limited towards women or for women or to women. So wear what you like, but I do think, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's good to make just a very light, a very gentle suggestion, because I still find that I like fragrances that feel masculine. I still like I prefer fragrances that come off and do feel like some people would suggest are macho fragrances. Like Dior Homme, I think it's a good fragrance. I think it's well done, but I personally don't feel comfortable with wearing the regular Dior Homme. Dior Homme O I could wear it sometimes. I think the Parfum comes off as much better, but we all have different tendencies and certainly different opinions on a lot of things. And sorry about the dogs. The fireworks and the people certainly have them very angry. Angry little dog is. Let's see here. Ben says, I got an Atelier d'Ors a large du desert 146. Are they legit? Have you smelled it? Um, dude, Atelier des Ors du Desert. I haven't smelled that fragrance. You can get those fragrances for amazing deals. There are some places. I think it depends on where you bought it. If you blind bought a niche fragrance, that's on you. Hopefully it is legit. Again, I recommend that you sample unless you're really willing to take a risk on such an expensive fragrance. If you bought it from a place that's reputable, like FragranceNet, Fragrance by CA, Fragrance X, Max Forte, and there's probably a few other ones out there. If you bought it from a reputable discounter, there probably is legitimate. You probably don't have to worry about it. But hopefully you have a sample. Hopefully you've smelled it before. And hopefully you think it's legit. But you can find really good prices on fragrances. You can find a lot of the Parfums de Marly's, and for about $150 if you look at the right places. You can find good Montals and Manceras for close to $80 if you look at the right places. You can find, and that's the same for Montals, Manceras for close to $80 if you look at the right places. You can find some great deals out there on some really popular, even desirable fragrances. But the more the word gets out, me putting the word out like this, people are going to jump on those deals, and they're probably not going to be out there as much. So, an inexpensive Arabian Middle Eastern fragrance. I'm going to give you two recommendations here. There's one out there called Rogba by Latafa. That one's unisex. It might come off as more feminine. I think it leans slightly feminine, but it's a lot of guys would be very comfortable wearing it. It smells like Oud Bouquet by Lancome, but it's very heavy on the vanilla. It's still spicy. It's still kind of floral in its own way, like a deep, deep floral, and still has a little bit of the oud. But you can find that fragrance for under $30, full size bottle. Cap is kind of junk. The presentation's all right, but the juice is very, very long lasting. It doesn't smell cheap. It does not smell like junk, and actually is pretty darn good. I spoke really highly of that fragrance. I don't like the hype fragrances, but if a fragrance did get hype, that's one that deserves it. Great fragrance for like $30. Really, really good stuff. Really worth the money. And another one, I would suggest a 24 Gold Oud Edition. Kind of hard to get your hands on unless you buy it from somewhere like Fragrance by CA. You can get it on Fragrance by CA for 50 mils. A smaller size, but still 50 mils, not bad, for $22. And I think you could get the 100 mil for like 45 odd dollars. Very potent, very gourmandish, Swedish oud. Very easy to like in my opinion. If you're really scared of oud, you could go for the regular 24 gold. I think the 24 gold oud edition is far better, and definitely a great fragrance, great value for the money. Definitely easy to step into oud. Very sweet, very good winter fragrance. Get you noticed, it'll get you compliments, all that good stuff that a lot of people like. And I don't know why other fragrance reviewers don't talk about it. Maybe they haven't bought from Fragrance by CA. Maybe it's just because it's not on the shelves. And again, I don't want to accuse other fragrance reviewers, but a lot of them seem to be talking about new designer releases because that's what a lot of people are going to YouTube for. They hear about, they see a commercial, they see something at the mall, they go to YouTube, they would say, "What's this new fragrance?" And want to hear about it. So, but 24 Gold Oud Edition definitely deserves talk. Really good fragrance. Let's see here. Ultra Super is laughing. Ultra Super says all fragrances are halfway feminine, anyways. Um, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but if you're saying that fragrances is more of a feminine thing, I guess you could say that. Just like the Fragrance Apprentice was saying, a lot of fragrance, the industry was, especially at least designer fragrance wise, has been heavily inspired and influenced by maybe feminine, the ladies, and of course LGT. I don't even know how to say it. LGTB. And nothing's wrong with that. But I don't. I still like masculine fragrances. I still find it fairly masculine. I'm still a guy who's very comfortable in his masculinity. I work outside. I do projects. I do construction. I'm an outdoorsman, fishing, hunting, all that good stuff. I definitely try to lean more towards, I guess notes that are heavier and darker and stuff like that. So. The Wafiz says that's what I love about Fragrantica. It has a section that says this scent reminds me of, and then it gives you all those fragrances that people like to smell like. Exactly. It's a great reference point. Fragrantica, you can search perfumers, and you can also search individual notes. And I learn a lot from Fragrantica. I'm still learning. I'm a fragrance reviewer. I'm deep into fragrances, as y'all know, but I'm still learning, and I still use Fragrantica to learn about fragrances and to get a reference point. I might not trust everything on Fragrantica like the Bible, but if there's a fragrance that I don't know anything about it, maybe there's nobody on YouTube's done a single review. Maybe nobody on YouTube has ever talked about a fragrance. And but often there's at least somebody, usually on Fragrantica, that said at least something about it and gives you a little bit of information that might be helpful. So I do that all the time. So then there's Halfway Masculine too. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I wasn't sure where he's going with that, but Casey says Versace El Homme. Um, I don't remember much about that one. It's not that one's different from Versace Pour Homme. Y'all know what I think about Versace Pour Homme, but that one's a little bit different. I don't remember much about that fragrance, honestly. Ultra Super says, yeah, but that's what I mean, and there's no fragrance that are masculine all the way. They all have a certain feminine elements. I suppose you could say that. You know, What would it take, in your opinion, Ultra Super, to make a fragrance that was all the way masculine? What would it take? Is it a pure oud? Is it a pure coffee? What a pure patchouli? What is it? You gotta tell me. Uh, Latafa has a lot of great inexpensive fragrances. I want to explore more of them. I have high expectations. I haven't tried a lot of them, but Rogba certainly blew me away. One of the longest lasting, best projecting, performing fragrances I've ever smelled. A good smell for the price, and a great introduction to oud fragrances. Rogba by Latafa. It's Rogba, RHAGBA, I think it is, by Latafa, and it's LATAFA, I believe it is. If you go and to Fragrantica and search in probably RHA, it probably will pull up on the list pretty highly. It'll probably be fairly easy to find it. The Waffles says Latafa's Oud for Glory is a dead ringer for Oud for Greatness. I'll have to try that one. It might be really good. I haven't tried all the Latafas, but if they did if they have any other bangers that are, as good as that Rogba, with that Lancome fragrance, you know, Oud Bouquet, I'll definitely be talking more about that house. Casey, check out Musky Oud by Ravana. Yeah, that one might be good. I haven't tried that one. How do you say that? Rahana. I almost said Rihanna. It's like, it's too late. I'm tired. Y'all got me thinking about Rihanna. What's going on? Anyways, hi Ben, hi all. I just got Noir Exquise by Les Artisans. Doesn't last the longest, but oh my gosh, does it smell great. Adult 1 million, in my opinion. It is a gorgeous fragrance. It is very good. I guess I'm insecure, some people would say, in my masculinity, but I did not feel comfortable wearing that fragrance. It was a tad too feminine for me, and I sold my full size bottle, 100 ml, 3.4 ounce, to somebody on eBay. I paid the shipping for like $59, and it only had like 2 or 3 sprays missing out of it. So very lucky person to get that fragrance. It retails, I think, for what, 180 full retail price. Some people are gonna probably have paid that at a boutique. So it is a really nice fragrance. You're right. If you, some people out there might be comfortable with it. I personally wasn't. It is a good smell. If you like gourmandish scents, a lot of people like what's that fragrance? Jazz Club. It's even sweeter. It's even richer than things like Jazz Club. You might just really like it. Casey says Versace El Homme is a cheap but will be a waste of money. If you don't like classic 80s vibe? Yeah, 80s vibe is something that's a real hit or miss for me. I like 80s vibe if it has that patchouli 80s vibe. You know what I mean? I like Silver Shadow by Davidoff. I like Balda Serini Cologne Concentrate. I love Anateus. I think that Pour Monsieur is also a great fragrance. Pour Monsieur Concentrate is definitely another good one. So yeah, definitely, you got to figure out who you are. You got to figure out what you like. You might be a fougere man. You might be a gourmand man. You might like everything man. It all depends on you. Woody fragrances, spicy. What do you like? Figure out what you like. I hope that more people in the fragrance community again wear what you love, find what you love. In many cultures out there, wearing fragrances is still looked at as a feminine thing. That's true. A lot of people still feel that way. Again, I live in the more rural South, and a lot of people feel that way. Unless you're going on a date, unless you're going to a very big event like a wedding or something like that, most guys out here certainly do not wear fragrances. And to most guys, it's just not something that's normal. They would think it's kind of strange. I definitely need new clothes. If you watch my fragrance channel, you'll probably can tell that I've worn most of the same clothes for about 2 years. I definitely need to invest in myself more, and I'm definitely trying to get myself a little bit more better of a budget so I can afford better clothes. But people around here, that's normal. Wear out clothes, get holes in your clothes. It's just a normal thing for people around here. If you go outside wearing a brand new pair of jeans that doesn't have any holes in them, and it's still bright and it's still dark blue, people think you have money. People are like, why are you wearing a brand new set of jeans? I think it's a special occasion. So it's kind of funny depending on where you live. Let's see here. Ard al Zof, how do you say it? Zofron, is another great inexpensive Middle Eastern house that's safe to check out. I'll have to let me take a screenshot of that real quick. Hopefully, I'll remember to check out that fragrance. And sorry if I'm waving my little hammer around. I've been in that working busy mood, and I just want to like construct something. Valley Vaughn says, "Hey boo, hey Valley Vaughn, how you doing? How you doing? How's it going? How's your Friday looking like? How are things looking for you over there? What? How do you feel about all this funny fragrance talk people are having? Feminine, masculine fragrances. Do you feel like some fragrances are better for the men and some fragrances are better for the ladies? How do you feel about all that, Valley Vaughn? Casey says, "Thanks, backup boss." Yep, for sure. Ultra Super says that fragrances that are close to being masculine all the way would be Quorum and Original Moschino per Uomo. I'm not too familiar with those, but I've heard good things, and there's seems to be people who are very have a big following behind that Quorum. How are you supposed to say it? I don't know. Ultra Super says perhaps fragrances with zero sweetness can be deemed more masculine. I could see that perhaps, but a lot of people are definitely going to fight you. Again, I kind of felt the same way with fragrances like Baccarat Rouge 540, but there's certainly some people out there who certainly do not feel that way about Baccarat Rouge 540. I can't wear Baccarat Rouge 540. I would never wear it, but some people out there, and they're comfortable with it, and if you're comfortable with wearing it, more power to you. But as a guy, as a man, I can't go anywhere near Baccarat Rouge 540. I'm simply just not going to wear it. And even if I wanted to wear it, to me it smells like a woman should smell, in my opinion. Let's see here. I can tell you another super masculine one. Santos de Cartier Concentré. Man, is that a bomb. I haven't tried that one. I'll have to look into that. I certainly do like masculine scents. I like a man to smell like a man. I do too, Valley Vaughn. Supposedly some ladies out here like guys smelling like Baccarat Rouge 540, or maybe something that might come off as a little bit unisex, maybe something like Ultramall, by Jean-Paul Gaultier. So what kind of notes or what kind of things do you like for men to smell like? What kind of notes? Is it woody, or do you like fougères, or what tobaccos, or I mean, what kind of things do you, or what kind of fragrances do you like on a man? Like, for example, what do you think of Bulgari Man in Black? What do you think about that one? I can't imagine Quorum on a girl. Yeah, I feel you there. Are all John Varvatos weak performers like the smell of vintage, but an hour later it's gone? Really? Vintage gave you that bad a performance on you? Man, Vintage is actually, for me personally, a lot of the John Varvatos fragrances give me 4 or 5 hours. Vintage was one of the fragrances that actually performed better on my skin. I could get 6 hours out of that fragrance and actually feel satisfied with Vintage, John Varvatos Vintage. But if you think John Varvatos Vintage has terrible performance and doesn't do anything for you, you might not want to. I mean, it's fun to sample, it's fun to try, but if John Varvatos Vintage gave you terrible performance on your skin, you might not want to, mess with the others. But I also would suggest that you also test the fragrance out on your arm. Again, I did a video and I don't think it got a lot of views. I wish that YouTube would push some of my videos that I think are very, very worth it. Very, very big videos. They're very important for just in general. They're helpful advice videos, very informative. And a lot of fragrance reviewers, it's just the tradition. They probably don't think about it. It's probably what they've seen other people do. They spray fragrances on their neck. And when you spray fragrances right here on your neck and your core, that's where your heart is, and that's one of your highest temperature other areas besides your lower body, your groin, and all that. And that'll really make the fragrance project. It'll really blow that fragrance into your nostrils. It'll make you go nose blind really quickly, and you won't be able to enjoy the fragrance as much throughout the day. You won't really get enjoy the fragrance like it wafting through the air. So that's why I suggest people spray fragrances maybe at the more of the back of the neck, spray it on your elbows, spray it on your knees. You could spray on your hips. Try to test out your fragrances and see what kind of performance you get. I used to think some fragrances gave me bad performance. I used to wonder if you know, even the good batches of Aventus, in my opinion, the 2016s or older, some of them, sometimes I used to wonder if those fragrances gave me better than like 4 or 6 hours of performance. But once I actually realized that I was making myself go nose blind, it helped me to realize that there are a lot of fragrances I used to think that were bad performers, but they actually aren't, they do a pretty good job overall. So, yeah, anyways, that back to John Varvatos. If vintage, if you really think that vintage gives you terrible performance, you might not care for the others. But I still would suggest Dark Rebel though. If you can get Dark Rebel, it's getting hard to find. It smells like a niche fragrance, has a lot of character, a lot of personality, and Dark Rebel has was one of the better performing ones as well. If you can find it for a good price, you might just like it. So. Yeah, I'm finding Baccarat Rouge to be feminine for me too, even though it's a good scent. Yeah, I agree. It's a good scent. And again, if it makes you happy, if you feel comfortable, don't let me discourage you. Don't let anybody discourage you with saying that something's feminine or masculine or whatever. Always wear what you want. But for me personally, a Baccarat Rouge 540 comes off as even Instant Crush is a little bit more unisex. And I could see maybe some really playful young guys perhaps wearing Instant Crush, but I still, even if I wanted to, Instant Crush to me is not masculine enough for me. A classic unisex fragrance that is talked about is Tom Ford's Black Orchid. I tried wearing it once, impossible. Yeah, there's a cult following behind that Black Orchid. I don't think it comes off as terribly feminine. At first, it was made for women and it was marketed towards women, but then it was so popular with the men. Y'all know with Tom Ford, with the LGBT, community, and again, respect to them, more power to them. Again, I don't want to act and I don't want to come across that I felt guilty or anything, but I didn't even. Supposedly Hillary did a live and I missed it. It wasn't intentional, and I know some people are very like want you to be transparent and all. More power. I didn't make any posts, but power and respect to them. And Black Orchid is certainly a fragrance that a lot of guys like and wear. And I think that the guys might like Black Orchid more than the ladies do. But yeah, it's forever. It depends on your personality. It really, I probably wouldn't wear Black Orchid either, but respect to the guys who can wear it. If you're like maybe like a slim guy, maybe perhaps shorter, or maybe you just have like a different vibe, probably a metro guy. Nothing's wrong with that. Maybe you were like really sharp dressed, really clean cut. I mean, Black Orchid, I could see where it could work with somebody. See, did y'all hear that? Somebody lit that firework came really close. Got to be careful. My brother Reed, I shouldn't even say his name, but anyways, one of my brothers one time, it was a while. When we were young, and somebody shot a firework, and I guess it didn't. It should have like popped earlier, but it didn't even pop. It like sizzled and it shot a long way, and somehow it got into my brother's shirt, and it actually gave him like really bad. I don't think it went third degree, but it was like second degree burns, and it was really really bad. It didn't like explode on us. It didn't like explode in our face, but it like somehow went down his shirt, and it burned him really really bad. So, fireworks are kind of crazy around here. Let's see. A real. I don't even know if I can say that. I've already probably said enough things to get me flagged. In YouTube world, might be able to put Corm on. I probably should get going too because as the night goes on, more and more people are going to light more and more fireworks, and it's just going to get crazy out here. Might be able to pull off Corm. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. A lady, more power to her. If a lady can pull it off, if a lady likes it, more power to her. I got Bentley Azure and Bentley Black I think it was like Black Edition or something, and I was thinking about selling them or giving them away, and I let my mom smell them, and my mom actually really liked them. So of course I give a lot of fragrances away to friends and family, and my mom wears Bentley Azure and Bentley Black Edition, and I mean, hey, I can't do it. I mean, I didn't think that she would like them. I didn't think that she would enjoy wearing them, but she does. So, hey, I probably go nose blind. It might be what happens. I see so many people spray fragrances right on their neck, and they put on like 5 sprays or whatever right on their neck. And that fragrance is just evaporating, going straight into your nose and straight into your nostrils, and you're going nose blind. And that's why sometimes people say that they can still smell you throughout the day, but you can't smell it anymore. That's what happened. And a lot of the times, the fragrance still might be kicking, but you just can't smell it anymore. So I always try to spray again, elbows, back of the neck, sometimes on my knees, sometimes on the hips, whatever you want to do. Just don't spray it on the chest. Let's see. What is the story with the Montal as a oud house? Honestly, I don't even remember the story. I wish I knew more, but I have to be completely honest with you. Y'all know that I'm honest with y'all. I don't remember the story of Montal. I might have read about it at one point, but I don't remember. I probably got to get going. I've been on here for about 2 hours, and the fireworks are kicking up. So Montal, Paris, Oud, Damascus. It might have Damascus Rose. I'm not sure. Montal fragrances are known for being very rose heavy, so it might be very rose heavy. It probably is. Ultra says it's obvious that more and more fragrances are marketed as unisex because they can sell more. Yeah, you're not limiting people or discouraging people from buying your fragrance because it's unisex. So it makes people more comfortable, and I think in general, as perfumers or these fragrance houses, honestly, they're using computer algorithms, but they're probably going to make fragrances more and more unisex because that's kind of the trend with a lot of the people in the new generation. They want to smell super safe and inoffensive. I think that in years to come, more, especially in the designer fragrances at least, more and more fragrances are going to become more molecule-like, more fragrances that smell like Jeremy Fragrance's creation, Office for Men, Date for Men, more fragrances that have that airy, transparent, slightly sweet kind of clean kind of vibe to them. So good chat. Thanks for the info. Very happy that I could help, Casey. Watch my video, my Fragrance by CA video. There might be some of those fragrances. You might enjoy some of those fragrances. So hopefully you find something that you really like out there. And I wish I could have been more helpful, helping you find more fragrances. Always feel free to message me on Instagram, everybody. I'm very active there if you have questions or suggestions and just want to chat. The Waffles says Ultra Supra. Yes, a really Waffles. Wear whatever you want. Wear a Daring Patchouli. Wear a Fougere. Wear whatever the heck you want. Don't let anybody tell you different. Anyways, let's see. Then go for it. I can't imagine being a more masculine one than that. Yeah, of course. Everything's unisex. Wear what you want. Anyways, everybody, I gotta go. The fireworks are picking up. It's getting dark outside. The mosquitoes are about to launch an ambush upon me. So I hope that y'all are very safe and well. I hope that you enjoyed your 4th of July. I'm very grateful for all of y'all for spending your time with me, for hanging out with me. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you decided to hang out with me. Good old Ben here at Centaur Fragrance Channel had a good evening and a good chat this evening, this Friday night. So have a good one, everybody. Enjoy your time. Have a good Sunday. Relax. Cook some great food. Be smelling great. And we'll get back to our fragrances. For you loyal people who are watching, please don't forget that I upload a video just about every single day. If you haven't hit notifications, please do hit all notifications. And please, if you're a loyal watcher and a viewer of my channel, please try to help me out as much as you can. I would really appreciate it. So I'll see you next time, everybody. Cheers all. Happy 4th of July. And great smelling, everybody. I wish you all the very best. I'll see everybody. Have a good one. Wear what you like. Wear what you love. Happy 4th, everybody. Be safe out there. Y'all know that. And I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one.